Right. Well, let's go. What do you think? One more minute and then we'll get started. There's no reason to delay it. So it's all good. It's nice this weekend. And then this weather kind of just makes you like, it's not that terrible cold out yet, but still kind of want to bundle up by a fireplace. Huh?
Good.
I spent most of my day sitting in a car.
Oh, God.
I did too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And my husband had surgery and I can't go in.
Oh.
Oh,
So you just had to wait. Yeah. Mhm.
Hope he's okay.
He's okay. He's in there griping and moaning. Shoulder surgery.
Oh,
we'll
Ooh.
teach him to climb a ladder when he's not supposed to.
Yeah, this happened during our last show.
Oh, really?
Yep, he fell off a ladder while I was at the show.
Oh, I thought he did it at the show. I was like,
No. He
Oh.
went to the emergency room and didn't even tell me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. Well, I think Tammy, Jonathan, if you could, everybody, let's just get started if that's okay, right? We'll keep it very casual. So we just really we have three things essentially we want to talk about. We're going to give a little bit of a treasurer's report, so kind of a financial information on the club. Then we'll go through the Texas trip. We'll just walk that through with you guys. If there's any questions, we want to make sure that happens. And then, kind of the main reason as well is we just need to get confirmation from the membership on the bylaws, right? So, and that's what we got. Does that sound good to everybody? All right. So Tammy, do you want to share or just walk through, I guess, a little bit of what we got on membership or on financials or treasury report, please?
sure. Yeah, I wasn't going to show the spreadsheets and make you have an eye chart. So I just would summarize what we have. And then if you have questions, I'm happy to show that. So when we started the year in 2020, we started with $5,286.99. And then we had the October show. And a couple of other major things went on, of course, during that year. We sold the old trailer and bought a new trailer that was $1,000 cheaper. And then the October show netted us $2,577.88, which was a really good return. We did have awards donated, so that's not including the cost of awards, which usually runs around $1,000. It would have been a little bit less had we had to purchase the awards. As of December 7th, the bank balance is $10,994. We had 1,531 youth and 15 youth entries, 1,544 open entries. So for a double show, over 3,000, which was a really large turnout. So that's just a little bit more details about the show. Any questions about that? Does anybody want to see spreadsheets?
I'm good.
Oh,
trust
we did have an audit in November from Mike Batella, who usually does the TRBA audits. So let's see if I can share that real quick, just so you guys see the signature and the results of the audit. Can you see it?
Yep, it just loaded up. Yep.
Okay, good. So that shows you that his comments, and they're mainly around, a couple of receipts missing, which when I took over the books, there were quite a few receipts missing, and all I had was like PayPal transactions and things like that. So he's noting that. So he passed us, and the questions he has on the bottom was just to make sure we had secured all of the previous, credit cards and such, and that's all been done and confirmed. So we're good to go. I mean, we usually have an annual audit of the books to make sure. And of course, I normally bring the books with me to shows and things like that. So if anybody ever wants to see them and look through them and audit them personally, I mean, it's the club's money, so you're welcome to do so. So I'll be sure and bring that with me to the show and the end of this month.
And Tammy's done a really nice job, just so you guys, everybody knows. I mean, as far as making sure everything's done electronically now, you know what I mean? So it's all recorded that way instead of just kind of maybe handwritten. And she's done a really nice job. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody
Yes.
knows that.
So I have a binder, which makes it easier. I did that on purpose so that for the auditing, right, it would make it easier. So yeah, so I have that, and anybody's welcome to see it at any time.
All right. Any questions on that, anybody? Good.
No, I'm good.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So the next one really is the Texas Triple. There we got the grocery store runner back. Hey, right. So the Texas Triple coming up, Extravaganza. I think you're muted there, Miss Riley. So as you guys know, we're splitting that with Johnson County and also Southwest RBA. So there's 3 clubs involved. As you know, the Southwest Club is really, they want to keep the name of that club, but it's really one in the same group. So we'll be splitting all proceeds and expenses, obviously, 50-50 on that deal. Even though there's 3 clubs, it's really just Johnson County and Southwest. So we'll be 50 and each of those clubs will be 25%. So just so you guys are aware of all that, right? So, I think maybe what we just wanted to go through with you, Tammy, can we just share maybe the little bit of the catalog or a couple of that? We'll just walk through a couple of them, and any questions or anything that, just bring them up, and all that kind of stuff, and we'll make sure we're in a good spot on that. So,
Hang on just a second, I'll get it shared.
yep, no worries. Thank you very much. Yep. But that's coming up pretty quick, actually. So, yep.
Okay, can you guys see that?
You bet. Yep. Yep. So a couple of the big enhancements, right, were there were really 3 big enhancements that the board talked about, right, from the last show on Halloween. It was really, it started to get a little slow, so we added another judge and a half, I guess, or 2 judges, if you want to call it that way. So we have 10 judges, so that plus the KB judges. So I think we're going to be in great shape there. The other enhancement is the facility change, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, right? So we'll be at Cattle Barn 1 versus the Poultry Barn. And then the third change, and probably the biggest feedback given, was the food choices were frankly pretty bad. So that's all been rectified, and we'll be at the Cattleman's Cafe, which is inside Cattle Barn 1. So I think that'll be really good. So maybe to go to the next page 3 there, Tammy, please.
Okay.
Because the event details, we'll go through a little bit on that. So again, Friday night show on the 29th. Barn opens at 4. So if we've got some folks, we've got Gary and Tony and stuff coming early with Jonathan there. So if we can get anybody to kind of show up a little earlier, that would be fantastic. And I think Tammy's going to probably share. We should probably post this, Tammy, the volunteer list or something like that. I always think that's good to post so people are active. You know what I mean? So
On Facebook page, you mean?
I think so. Is that okay with you guys? I mean, I just think that volunteers kind of come out of the woodwork when you ask them, right? So, the big help is going to be table help, right? So, and I know there's only 8 of us on this call, right? But, and all of you guys every single one of you that are on this call are involved in the situation, right? In the show. So, You can maybe even reach out to other members and say, hey, would you be willing to volunteer for table help? I think that's always great. Entry deadlines, you know what I mean, is the 22nd. It's been posted a couple times. The other big deal to change, and based on a lot of input from Tammy, is we're simplifying and kind of changing this whole entry fees, and also there's amendments to the entry fee on the day of the show. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier. $1 or $2 a rabbit, or you can add another rabbit, but there's not going to be this complex maze of charges, and I think that's the other thing that our exhibitors requested. So so that's done. Any questions on entries at all or anything? Okay. The parking's going to be a cost, right? So it's $10. I think everybody's, essentially okay with that. Just so you're aware, there will be 3 other events going on at Will Rogers our weekend. There's going to be a gun show, right?
Yeah. Remember why there's
And then
no
there's-
ones left, right?
I have a question, John.
Yeah, of course, Christy. Yep.
That $10 parking, is that for the whole weekend or is that per day? So we'll pay $10 on Friday and another 10 on Saturday.
That's correct. It's $10 a day. Now, we can't bank on this, Christy, right? But I will tell you, last time we fully expected every single exhibitor to be charged $10 on that October 31st, only frankly to realize that that they didn't charge anyone that day, right? So I don't think
I was
don't-
charged $5 to get in the gate that day to park.
how
but-
weird. I mean, not even the full price. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I would fully anticipate that it will be $10 a day. I mean, I think that's what we all have to plan on, right? Unless they're not charging that day. I know that sounds really weird that I'm telling you that, but I'm just being honest with you that, that's kind of where we're at on it. So it's a good question. Good question. We have 5 vendors actually now. So 2 cage vendors and 3 other folks that are going to be there. COVID rules, Tammy's on the next page there. COVID rules will go into effect clearly based on the city of Fort Worth. Masks, part of the reason why we're going to Cattle Barn 1 is to spread this thing out and giving people more space, which they deserve, right? So we'll make sure that happens, but masks are definitely required. Tammy, do you have the roaster, the roaster, we're adding the roaster class. I think there's a fair amount of interest in that. We've had a lot of questions on that. So,
Can I interrupt for 1 minute?
yeah, absolutely, Terry.
Going back to the COVID precautions,
Yeah.
the group that I was with, they were kind of asking why nobody was taking temperatures like we did at the very first mid-tech show.
I don't
That's
know.
not a
I didn't
requirement.
have my temperature taken at mid-tech.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
didn't remember either. That show.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we went to the one that was in Belton, they took our temperature as we came in the door.
Okay.
They didn't take mine.
They didn't take mine.
They sprayed our wheels and they took our temperature and we had to sign that thing and get a bracelet.
It's not a
They just-
requirement for Fort Worth, and we did do the bracelets for the October show, but we're not gonna do that again for this show because Fort Worth is gonna have a person walking around in the building, checking specifically for mask wearing.
Okay.
And, I guess I would ask for your help and support as you're talking to other exhibitors. Frankly, they're getting a little more strict, right? And rightly so. From the Tarrant County Health Department is giving them more regulations. So, they already told Tammy and I and Gay is that, hey, look, if folks are not following that, the health department will shut you down. So we just, it's not really it's a threat, but I mean, it's just real. I mean, well, it's just, we want to make sure that that everybody follows the protocols. Okay. Good
Yeah,
question.
they can actually come in and close the event. So they weren't doing that at our October show, but they are getting more strict. We will also be required to tape off the entire exhibit space in 6-foot sections. Last time we taped it off in 6-foot, taped off 6-foot dividers just to make sure people had room to get in and out of the exhibitor area. But this time we will have 6-foot dividers between each exhibitor area. So there'll be a lot of taping at the beginning at the setup. So we will need people helping with that, because myself and Riley did it by ourselves at the last show. So we're gonna need a little help to do a lot more. So we used butcher paper. We have a roll of butcher paper, and we will be using that to separate the exhibitor spaces into like 6x6 areas with 6 foot on both sides. And that's a new requirement they have this time for the show.
So Terry,
You gonna do that Friday at 4?
Before 4, probably noon, somewhere around noon.
Okay.
We'll get
I
started.
can try to plan to be there and help you out with that.
That'd be great, Debbie. We
that would
appreciate
be
that.
fantastic. Yep. That'd be fantastic.
What time, Tammy? I'm sorry. I know you posted it, but what time does the barn open?
It opens at 4 for all exhibitors, but we'll be there earlier, of course, setting up.
Okay, we have some families that get there early. And if we do, then you want me to just send them to you to help tape? Because they're coming in from Houston. So if they get there early, they can just come and help tape. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, if there are people that you trust to come in and help. I mean, what we want to avoid is people coming in and setting up and starting to groom rabbits while we're trying to get everything set up.
No, there won't be those kind.
Right. So if you trust them, I trust you, Lori.
Yeah. What are we doing? Are they going to do what they did the last show, to where the judges move and the exhibitors stay at the same table?
I don't know the answer to that yet, John. I know that Gary and Gary Sparks, and because we're doing this as a joint show, so I believe that's the plan, is that we try to set up the major breeds in the same, at least next to each other, like we did last time. So hopefully that's what we get to do this time.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do that.
That really helped as far as the traffic.
Right. And that's what we hope to do. Is the judging area will be all by itself this time, but since the cattle barn has concrete walls, half walls separating the 3 sections in the barn. So in the judging area, it will only be judging tables. No exhibitors in that area.
Tammy, it might help. Can you throw up that map? Could you possibly do that? Is that okay?
I can look for it while you talk through the rest. I don't
Is
have.
that okay? Sorry. Because I think that'll help kind of people get a little perspective. I apologize. I should have told you that to have that one prepared earlier. I apologize. So
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
And Terry, in that regard, we're going to try and keep your breeds, rabbits, fairly close to the raffle table. So you don't yell at me again. So
Yes, and Terry, just talk to me offline so we can make sure that we pick the best timing and try to schedule your breeds that way. Be happy to try to accommodate the best we can.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was kind of worn out.
Yeah, I mean, Gary is making the schedule this time, but I will make some suggestions for him, and I can do that for you, right? If you kind of give me an idea what works best.
Well, I am down to 2 breeds now instead of 3, so that does help.
Yeah, sure.
I guess while Tammy's pulling that map up, is there any particular questions at all? I did want to acknowledge that the Keller 4-H Club is going to help and be the big labor force to load the equipment up at the end of the show. So we're going to pay Keller 4-H $250 to do that, but frankly, we think that's way worth it.
That's worth it, yeah.
Yeah, Debbie, you're right. I totally agree with you. Yeah, so it was kind of a killer. So, and the other thing is that, we have 10 tables, or 10 show judging tables. 6 of them are going to be Johnson County, so they're lighter. So we only have 4 of the Big Moose Blackland Prairie tables that Jonathan's bringing. So, so hopefully that'll be as easier as well.
Okay, I have a picture of the barn ready when we want to switch over to that.
Yeah, go ahead. Fantastic.
Okay, you want to switch over now? Okay, let me see
Yeah,
if I can
please,
change
please.
the share. My screen's not big enough for all of this. Okay, can you guys see that?
All right, so it's a little tougher to read, but it's going to help, right? So the small exhibits building is the poultry building. So if that kind of helps you out to kind of just visualize it. So the poultry building is literally right next door, obviously. So this wall there, and then the wash bay. We do have the wash bay, by the way, Tammy. We can use that for the wool breeds.
Yep.
I was mentioning that there are 4 other events going on. There's not one going on in the small exhibits building, so we're happy about that. There's a pig show going on, a dog show at Cattle Barn 2, and then the gun show. So you can see there at the top under the red that Tammy's got there, that's where all 10 judges' tables are going to be on one side, right? And they're going to be a flat line. We're not going to U-shape anything. We're going to do one big giant flat line. The suppliers are going to be on the end, which is the south side of the barns. Tammy referenced the cement walls. So Tammy, if you'd maybe show your mouse there, all those are cement walls that are probably in the neighborhood of about 4 foot tall. That's where the cattle, are separated kind of thing. If you guys go to the stock show, you'll see those kind of things. And then the exhibitors are going to be on those areas. It's right where her mouse is there. So people are going to have to wheel their rabbits up to the judging table, that kind of deal. So, and we want carrying cages to be stacked if possible. We don't want them spread out. And we're gonna post about that as well. A couple of things. We just don't want, we want to give people good amount of space. So because of that, we're going to ask people to stack their carrying cages, maybe even leave them on wagons, right? So that's probably an easier way to do it anyway. There's going to be 2 offices. As you can see, that's where Gay and Kenny is going to be. And of course, with Lynn Ann's help and to Tammy and Debbie and who else? Golly,
Taylor.
I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely.
And Lynn Ann.
Yep, and Lynn Ann I mentioned. Yep. So, and then the Stockman's Cafe is right there. So, all right. Any questions on the kind of the layout?
When you're saying leave your carriers on wagons or leave them stacked, so we're not going to be bringing in the rail system where they're.
Yeah, we would ask people not to do that, Christy. I mean, because it really, frankly, it takes a lot of space up.
It does. Is that posted anywhere? Because that saves room in vehicles traveling if people know not to bring that.
We absolutely will post that in the next day or 2, right? So in fact, I'd like to maybe make some kind of a animated or a picture kind of deal of that deal, Tammy. Maybe you and I can talk about that offline, right? So
Can do that.
but yeah, that's a good point, Chris. We don't want any of those wooden rails where people display a
Or
bunch of
tables or big, 6-foot tables sometimes people bring. We're not gonna have that kind of room.
We got to keep those suitor rabbits, Jonathan. I know you got that big deal, but sorry, you got to keep that one home. So
Another suggestion on the Cattleman's Cafe.
Yep.
You might want to maybe possibly post what their menu might be and their prices so people know, is it cashless or is it card?
Got it. I'm writing that down. That makes sense. Yep, I can do that. That's a good idea.
And can we bring our own food? Or coolers or anything like that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of how you saw it last time, right, Terry? Right. So
Oh, yeah.
people kind of did some of that, right? In fact, there was a bunch of people that drove to Chick-fil-A and there was a McDonald's around the corner, all that kind of stuff, right? So we don't want it probably, we don't want to shout that from the rooftops, right? So, but, you know, we're not bringing in our old grills and stuff, but, you know, I think we just need to be discreet on that. And also we want to support the concession stand though, too, if at all possible.
So John, you're wanting them because our 4-H kids, so they do usually have the wood carrier racks. So they stack the carriers and then they put carriers underneath them. So you're wanting them to only have them on their wagons and carts and leave them stacked the whole time. Some of my kids are, you know, we've got some that are bringing 15, 20 rabbits.
Well, then they'll have 3 carriers, right? So,
Exactly. Just
you know,
leave them stacked on the carriers though, right?
that would be our preference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I mean, we get it. Those are kind of a nice thing to display, but it's not good in a time of COVID and social distancing.
And they can always we started having them bring an extra cart so that as they are loading them onto the show table, they can move those carriers onto another cart so they don't have them all over the ground at the loading coops.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and we will have a taped off area in this place where you see staging.
Mhm.
And you won't be allowed to have carriers up here.
Okay.
So we will have to have an aisle space, which was a complaint. Last time the exhibitors did really well with the 6 foot from the judges. So I was, you know, accolades to those folks who stayed behind the tape, except when taking rabbits on and off. But we will also not be able to put carriers up here next to us while we stand and watch, right? Which a lot of us do. So that won't be possible. You'll have to put your carriers back here.
They can do that. I'll just.
Right. And we'll have it taped off. So it'll be, you know, it'll be easier for people to understand. So we'll have another tape running across here saying, you know, carriers behind this area only.
I'll just make sure I go over all that with them. You know what? We can do all these things. It's better to have to do these things versus not being able to show. It's a small price to pay.
Okay.
That's how we.
And we'll also, you know, we'll also post the map, right? So, in fact, Tammy, we'll post the other map with the.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that one, John, the one that I colored up. So,
No worries.
the example of the exhibitor areas. So I don't know if I kept that one separate, but if I find it, we can share that one.
And we're going to try and speed up that whole best in show thing. You know, that was kind of a delay at the last show, and we're going to speed that rascal up as well. And then we'll split. So we're going to have youth on one end, open on the other end. Tony will manage kind of one end. I'll manage the other end with Jonathan. And so I think we're going to be able to kind of speed things up. And I think we'll be in a good spot. So, yep. At least I hope so. So. Any other questions on the show, right? So any other questions?
Okay, I found it. So hang on.
Yeah, we'll quick show this graphic because Tammy did a nice job with kind of laying out the colors. It's just a little nicer to read.
Okay, can you guys see it now? I'll try to make it bigger. So you see the big red box and the line in the middle? That's where the doors open up, and that's the fire lane. So that will be marked off also. And these are the exhibitor areas. The dark blue is where we'll put the the butcher paper and the tape down, however we can make that happen best, right? And then that will be the exhibitor spaces. So you see, you'll have 6x6 area. And this map has to be updated because it's showing the stalls in here, and we'll have more space. But they will be removing those stalls, so I'll update the map before we send it out. We were trying to, share with the Fort Worth folks that this was just not enough room. So these black bars in here, which are the cattle stalls, those will not be in the building. So I'll readjust and add more space in the exhibitor. But this is what it'll kind of look like once we lay it out.
Hey, John, refresh my memory. Is that entire concrete or is there dirt too?
It's all
This
concrete.
barn is all concrete, Lynn. Yep.
Okay.
One barn over to the east is dirt, but not this one.
Yeah, so we'll redo this and show you, but you can see how we get limited with space once all the COVID-19 requirements come in, so. All
But
right.
no, I mean, it'll go well. It'll be a nice show. I mean, there'll be bumps, there'll be bruises, there'll be all that kind of stuff. So just be mentally prepared for those. It's gonna happen, right? So,
It'll
but
be awesome. I mean, everybody stepped up at the last show with the requirements that we had there. And
right,
it's just a little bit more this time. So I think people will just fall in
we're
line.
gonna be fine.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So unless there's any other questions on the show, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring the bylaws to a vote. So Tammy forwarded all that out. Everybody saw that. The board is kind of unanimously, not kind of, as unanimously approved those, but we need the membership approval. I know that the bylaws have been a sticking point with the club. They've tried to change it for the last couple of years, and it just didn't get done, right? And that's okay. It's no harm, no foul, right? So so the cool thing is we can use Zoom, and we're going to use a virtual voting technique. Tammy will show you an example here in a second. So all we need is a two-thirds vote. This is our example poll that should have appeared on your screens. Does everybody see that poll?
Yes.
Love rabbits. So go ahead and vote. Put yes or no on your phone or computer there.
I'll put no.
You better not. Well, exactly. Towards the end of the show, maybe you're thinking that.
Yeah,
Right?
somebody vote no, just so we can see the results, because I'll show them.
So after you hit submit, it'll go away, and then Tammy will show us results.
Yeah, let me know when you guys are finished. Oh, it says 10%, 100% voted, so nobody voted no. So I'm going to end the poll and share the results, and then you guys can see it, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
Everybody got it down? So we can see the real vote? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that one, and then I'll launch the new one. And John, just so you know, the point of the vote is the yes or no. We can't like edit the bylaws here. That's not the way it works. So if you agree with the bylaws that we sent, then you vote yes. If you don't, you vote no, and we need 2/3 vote to pass the bylaws. And then of course, if you have questions or comments about any specific things in the bylaws that you can always bring that up later and even make proposed changes yourself. Every member can do that. And you'll see that you should have seen that in the new bylaws, right? So here we go. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm launching the poll.
So I accept the newly proposed constitution and bylaws, yes or no? Wow, technology here, huh?
Pretty cool.
It is. It's cool. It is.
I think we have 11 people on the call, including myself, but it looks like I don't get to vote because I have the polls. So are we ready? I think everybody's voted, and I'm going to share the results.
100%.
All right.
And
Good.
10 for 10, since I can't vote for some reason. I don't know if that's a So good. We really appreciate your support and help to get the new bylaws going. And then, of course, we can, like I said, adjust those as we go along.
Perfect.
You did get my vote, right,
I
Tammy?
did. I got 10
Okay.
votes,
Okay.
and there's 11 of us on the call, and I didn't get to vote. So I had to have gotten yours. Thanks, Sandra.
You're welcome.
All right, gang, that's what we had. We will, unless anyone has any questions or comments, we will adjourn. But anything for the good of the cause?
I have one thing. What time do I need to be there Friday morning? We're doing this Friday morning, right? To put the tape down?
Yes.
What time do I need to be there?
John, what did we decide? I mean, I'm going to be there
Well,
pretty early, but
I'm gonna be there early.
I don't know,
I
when.
think Gay was, Sandra, I think Gay was talking 11 o'clock.
Well, that's not early.
Earlier than
So
that.
say that's not early.
No, no,
So,
no. We'll be there around between 9:30, 9 and 9:30, we'll be there. John
Okay.
and I will.
I totally agree with that, Tammy. I just know that
And we'll get started, and as people, you guys roll in, and we appreciate you coming and helping for sure.
Okay.
Hey, John,
yes, sir.
are we gonna be able to get access earlier? Because, we'll be there super early. And if we get there before anybody else, we can go ahead and get the trailer in there and start unloading the ones that we need to unload.
Yeah, I mean, our contract says we can get in there by midnight the night before, right? So we're fine.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're
Okay.
there at 8, but I'll get you Jackie's contact. Last time it was Nancy.
Right.
It's Jackie's our contact this time, Jonathan. So
Okay.
No parties though, Jonathan.
Oh,
We're not cleaning up your mess before we load the table.
At the last show, the entries were amazing. I mean, it was really a great turnout. Are you guys anticipating about the same or a lot more, or?
We hope so. We're prepared for it. We have, 10 judges this time, and hopefully we won't lose one like last time. And that was a little bit reason why the show went a little longer. People may not have realized it, but we had a judge that quit on us like an hour before the show. So our poor judges, I think Ashley judged how many was it? Like 600 rabbits or something crazy like that.
That was a big number. Yeah, it was a big number.
Yeah, it was crazy how hard our judges worked, and we would have never pulled it off without all the riders and ramrodders and the tables. I can tell you that, because that made a really big difference. But hopefully we won't work our judges to the bare bones this time.
We had no clue. I mean, that's how smoothly you guys ran that show. We didn't have a clue in the world. You guys did a phenomenal job. It was really run well.
Yeah, well,
it was
just a
it was
few of
group
us, but it
effort.
was the
Don't
riders and the
worry, it was a
ramrodders and
group.
everybody else that
Yeah.
helped,
Yeah, it was a group. So no, hopefully we do. I mean, and it should, with the entries, with a Friday night show as well. I think that it'll smooth out the process, hopefully, of getting the entries in and registered. So we'll see.
John, did you get more feedback on Midtex? Did anybody go to Midtex? Lori,
I
you
did.
right?
Yeah.
I know they were down. You know what I mean? Do you know how many?
They were down a little bit, but
They were down quite a bit.
Well, I can tell you that there were 550 rabbits Saturday in open and 450 Friday night
Okay.
in open. I know that.
yeah, that's about probably 25% down, right? We
Yeah.
had in our shows, we had about 700 in open in each show.
Wow.
And I'm looking at, and I can tell you on the youth mini lops, we had 58, but at Midtex last weekend. But for your show, for the Blackland Prairie show, we had 114 shown.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we did hear it was a little bit down.
You
You know that the Blackland Prairie Show is pulling different logistics. It's easier for the people that are farther, north to come. So we noticed that at least on the youth tables, we had friends that were able to come from different geographic areas versus Colleen or Belton.
Yeah, but Midtex was even low for their normal show, right? I mean, I didn't get to go at the last minute. I actually entered and had to bail out because I had family changes, and so we went out of town. But yeah, I'm not sure why they specifically had lower entries, other than it's right after Christmas and people are broke or whatever.
And we may too. I mean, part of it,
Yeah.
frankly, part of it could be COVID, right? So COVID related. We'll see. But we're hopeful. We're hopeful. So, well, anyway, gang, anything else? Any other questions? Otherwise, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Tammy, thanks for lining up the poll thing.
Sure, no.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys.
All right.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.